Today we will hear from experts in various fields about how we can use green technologies to tackle climate change. Our first speaker is Maša Njegovan, ESG Senior Manager, Deloitte Risk Advisory. Please give her a warm round of applause. Maša.
And I just want to begin this day by reminding you that we live actually we're facing the biggest crisis in the history of humanity, and that is the climate crisis. And as you can see, you probably know also that the main reason that we got to this climate crisis is greenhouse gas emissions, mostly from burning fossil fuels, and most of those greenhouse gas emissions actually come from carbon dioxide. I have bad news for you. We have not reached the peak CO2 emissions yet. As you can see from this graph, as of 2021, but also 2022, even after COVID, we haven't peaked the emissions. And so the current climate scoreboard shows us that we are at 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming. This is the average temperature increase. And we are dangerously approaching the limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which many climate scientists perceive as the safe global limit. And so last year, the UN Secretary General put it, I think it's a very nice sentence for all of us to digest. The way he put it is, we're on a pathway to climate hell, and our foot is still on the accelerator. This is what the climate hell looks like, and unfortunately, many countries are already facing this as a reality. So which ways do we have going forward? We actually have, I think, there are many scenarios, many climate pathways, but I would like to mention three most important ones. Number one, business as usual. So we keep doing nothing as we do today, and we reach 4 degrees Celsius global warming, and we reach the climate hell. The second option is we go to the Paris-aligned scenario, and we end up with 2 degrees Celsius global warming, yet still not the optimal choice, and not what the global consensus currently is. The global consensus is going towards the number 3 scenario, the net zero by 2050, which is what 135 countries have set as a target in some form, including the European Union. So just wanted to remind you what are the main culprits for the climate crisis. It's definitely the energy sector. As you can see, the energy sector accounts for 3/4 of global GHG emissions. And so basically, if we want to reach net zero, we need to decarbonize, first of all, the power generation sector, then transport, and also industrial energy consumption. So how do we reach net zero? So we have the International Energy Agency. Last year, they published the net zero by 2050 scenario, which is becoming one of the most prominent global scenarios for reaching net zero by 2050. So they have prescribed over 400 technological milestones. As you can see, some of them are named here. So these are the milestones that need to happen for the world to reach net zero. And just to name a few, as of 2021, they say that we should have no more unabated coal power plants. We already know that this has not happened, but the COP and the UNFCCC are working hard to set this as a binding target at this year's COP. We also have, for 2035, the target that says that we should not be selling any more internal combustion engines. We already know that the European Union tried to pass this into law, but they had some difficulties, so there would be opposition from the fossil fuel lobby. But we also know that by 2050, the electricity sector needs to be 70% based on renewables. I would say this is probably the key takeaway from the IEA report. And it says that actually almost half of the technologies that we need to reach net zero are still at the prototype phase. So I would say that this is a great opportunity because it means there is a need for green innovation. What kind of solutions do we need? Well, we need a lot of different solutions, really. We need to decarbonize the electricity using solar, using wind, stationary energy storage. For transport, we need renewable fuels, we need electric vehicles. For agriculture, we'll need crops that are resistant to climate change. Built environment needs to be zero carbon ready. Heavy industry needs to be decarbonized, obviously, using hydrogen as one of the solutions. And finally, we need carbon management. We need to be able to capture carbon dioxide from the air and to store it safely. So this is what, if we talk about who are these actors, who should be driving this innovation, climate innovation and climate solutions, the traditional assumption tells us that the private sector is the one who should be driving innovation and that government is a bunch of bureaucrats, they have no clue about being innovative and they should just let the private sector do their thing. Everything has changed when Professor Mariana Mazzucato from the UCL, University College London, published the book, The Entrepreneurial State. Professor Mazzucato argued that it was actually historically the state, the government, that has driven innovation, especially in the early phases, in the research phase. She gave examples of the moonshot missions, such as landing a man on the moon in the 1960s, and obviously these kinds of international missions have been successful only because the governments were the ones that were driving. It was the government institutions that were driving these innovations. And as a consequence of landing a man on the moon, there were also a lot of positive spillovers. So just to name a few, as a result of this huge exploration, we have now commercially available insulin pumps, solar cells, and water purifiers. So this is what the mission-oriented innovation model looks like. This is what Professor Mazzucato has given us as a tool to solve big problems, big challenges. So it starts with defining big challenges, and it needs to be through a multi-stakeholder approach. So governments, they need to work with civil society, with scientists, with different private sector representatives. So it needs to be the entire ecosystem approach to defining grand challenges and then selecting technologies and innovations that would help us tackle those challenges. Obviously, climate change is one such challenge that we should apply this model onto. It's probably not true that Yugoslavia had a space program, as this movie tries to argue, but yet we did have a very well developed aerospace industry with a lot of scientific knowledge and finally also a lot of commercialized products that were served to the market as a result of it. I believe that we can repeat this mission at least, but we can just replicate it on solving the climate puzzle. Finally, I just want to show you the Deloitte approach to green technologies. So working with clients, we have realized what are the problems that they're facing. They're normally facing a couple of challenges when dealing with green technologies and leveraging the green technologies to decarbonize their businesses. The first one is the complexity. So which technologies should I choose, right? What is the right one for my business, for my sector that I operate in? The second challenge is a supply issue. So how do I select the vendors? Who do I go to if I need to procure those technologies? And finally, it's about the adoption. So how do I select the right partners and what is the right path for me to commercialize and scale these technologies? And so Deloitte leverages this global network of relationships that we have. We have ecosystem relationships, subject matter experts, and leading market intelligence, so we can help clients answer to these questions and help them find a customized pathway to decarbonization. These are just a couple of figures showing the size of the global network that we have. So we have a network with over 5,000 international organizations. We have over 300 experts in climate technologies. We have mapped over 120 climate technologies to date. And so far, we have completed more than 20 technology scans for different clients. So that's about it for me, for today. I just want to invite you all to think about what is the best path for me to decarbonize my business or my country. If we are talking at a national level, how can you leverage the power of green technologies and which technologies are right for you to reach net zero most efficiently? Thank you very much.